what's going on, y'all? T-Bob here.
And Jake as well.
And you're about to watch a little OTB LSU.
We're going to give you all the latest, greatest between LSU football, baseball, women's basketball, softball, and everything in between.
Bottom line, if you want to talk Tigers, keep it locked, subscribe, like it, and we hope you enjoy the LSU Vandy film review. General thoughts here. Obviously, awful start. Like, could not have been a worse start, okay? You come out, you fumble on the kickoff. You go 3 and out, in part because of a pre-snap penalty that changes a 3rd and short into a 3rd and long. And then you give up a one-play 70-yard touchdown to Vanderbilt, who, as we said, as we'll look at throughout the rest of the game, their strategy is not really, big plays or looking for chunks. No. They want to control, shorten the game, and then hope to be, in a fight in the fourth in which they can come out on top. And it's a strategy they've done very well this year, and they've used to great effect. And remember, coming in, we said, and I still believe this on the other side of the film, these are two pretty, damn evenly matched teams. There's not massive advantages for either one. But so the start was unreal bad. And, Jake, I was in the stadium, and I got to say, the crowd was actually nice. Like, the energy was kind of whatever. Yeah. But, it was full. There were not a bunch of empty seats
right.
in everywhere.
And it happened kind of quickly because at first I got to campus and I'm like, oh boy.
Everybody just came in right at game time.
I think the weather was so nice everybody was tailgating a little bit longer.
Yeah,
they weren't out there sweating, and so the crowd, it surprised me actually.
So I thought I was kind of like, okay, wow, this is crazy. The stadium's full, even if the energy may be a bit down. But at that moment, a Fire Brian Kelly chant broke out.
Yeah, because those help you a lot. Those are
well. I mean, look, man. Again, at the time, and at that exact moment, and I think it's important to highlight because it strengthens what was so good about this game. But at that moment, you had a month of god awful football, right? You've seen all your hopes and dreams and everything collapse since that A&M halftime. You open up this Vanderbilt game, like we said, fumble on the kickoff, 3 and out with a penalty. One play, 70-yard touchdown. It felt god awful. And mentally, for the players, that's a very low point as well. So why I'm trying to reinforce all of that is because that is the context in which this LSU team basically said no more. And they completely put a stop to it. And from that moment on, maybe save for a couple of gaffes, the punt, allowing them the punt fake at the end, the biggest one in my opinion. But save for a couple of gaffes, was really clean, really solid, really strong in the trenches, and just came back and controlled that game for the next 55 minutes, 58 minutes, whatever it was at the time.
Yeah, so that's why I said, calling the game and going back and watching it, the box score to me doesn't tell the full story of the game. And I know it ended up being a one-score game, 24-17, and the fake punt led to them scoring. But you go back and you watch the tape, and it felt like it did calling the game. Like, they dominated the game in a lot of aspects. I thought the offensive line finishing every single block that they had, and it wasn't just your 2 tackles.
Best game, but not even close.
They were coached this week without question about finishing and about mean, nasty, tough, all those things we always talk about. And you saw every time. It was to the echo of the whistle plus, and it's actually a really fun tape to go back and watch. I thought the running backs played well. I thought the running backs had great individual effort. Josh Williams. This was a game in which he was not going to be denied. He takes over. I mean, How many tackles did he break?
A lot.
You go back to the edge rushers. Okay, so if you're just box score watching, or if you're just, kind of casually watching, maybe you didn't pick this up. The edge rushers in this game, it's not going to be their stats, but how they affected the game was the story of the game for me.
It's Davion Jones for me.
And he had one tackle.
More so than anybody else. Right? Davion Jones was incredible this game. He was all over the field.
Okay. And I agree with you wholeheartedly. But if you look at his box score, 1 tackle.
Yeah.
That doesn't tell the story of the game. Him and Braden Swinson both, they had an assignment to keep Diego Pavia uncomfortable, because when he's comfortable, he's really, really good. When he's confident, he's really, really good. And he does his best work on the run. Every time he tried to get out of the pocket, they had disciplined pass rush and did not allow him to break contain or try to do things that he's done all season long against anybody. And so I thought, like, that to me, that was the reason Vanderbilt's offense could never really get started, because everything they wanted to do, it was halted by the edge rushers.
Yeah, they did. They did an excellent job of, when Vanderbilt would pass, maintaining disciplined rush lanes where they were still winning enough to make Pavia feel them. I mean, they got quite a few hits off Pavia this game, but they also weren't just rushing with their hair on fire and leaving him scramble lanes wide open. They did an excellent job at the mesh point. In fact, right, the one tackle that Savion Jones did have was him perfectly reading that Pavia kept it and coming up with a big TFL. But there were other ones as well where they perfectly read it and he strung it out and other guys make the tackle. Yeah, they're and especially I think because I guess I want to highlight Savion too, because Braden's had like so many great games this year. But Savion Jones was just, I mean, again, all over this. That's interesting. He only had one tackle. I didn't even realize that.
But he was affecting the game.
No, the whole time. That's what I'm saying.
It was very easy to tell.
Defensive MVP, and it wasn't even particularly close.
Yeah, so, I mean, you had the combination of both edge rushers doing exactly what they had to do, and then you had Whit Weeks kind of in a spy position where he wasn't going to allow Diego Pavia to kind of take over the game and play backyard football and do what he does, and Whit Weeks got a couple of really nice hits on Diego Pavia as well. So the game plan certainly worked. Like, outside of the first play where you got double moved, everything else defensively, I thought was executed at an extremely high level.
Yeah, I agree. I also think that you played very strong situationally in this game. Again, maybe save for the punt, but like the high leverage moments, right? The drive to end the first half, getting that ball back. I mean, You have a really strong open field tackle from Sage Ryan. It sets up a 4th down attempt from Vanderbilt. They go for it. You come up with a big stop. Again, chaos caused by a Savion Jones pass rush that immediately has Pavia kind of scrambling and the play breaks down. So you force a turnover on downs. Then you have an 80-yard drive that starts with 4:22 on the clock. You eventually finish that in the end zone to take a 7-point lead with just 50 seconds left. Then, despite the fact that Vandy got a couple of early gains there early on, it looked like maybe they were going to steal 3 before half. You manage to put a stop to that, and you go in up 7. And then, obviously, what is more high leverage than getting the ball back with 5 minutes and 47 seconds left, up 1 score, and not allowing Vanderbilt to touch the ball again. I mean, Nuss gets it started in a very strong way that drive. 5:47, he's standing tall in the pocket. Yeah. Steps up. O-line gives him a ton of time. He finds Kyron on a deep out. The long developing route. Again, great night for the O-line. First down, gain of 20. Then you go 3 runs in a row. First down. Then you have a high percentage bubble to Aaron Anderson, in which he makes a couple of amazing cuts, basically breaks back-to-back sets of ankles. Another first down. Later on, you're at a 3rd and 4. You get a little disconcerting signals. Hell yeah. How about it? And then, knowing one more first down ends the game, you run it twice. First down, victory formation. That is dominant. That is with a bullet, not even close. That is my favorite sequence of this entire game. Yeah. Is them getting the ball back up 7 and not allowing any shenanigans to go down. We are just going to go out and come out of here with a win.
I wholeheartedly agree. I said it on the broadcast. It's the best feeling in football when you get the ball back. They need it back and they can't get it. And you possess it and you finish the game with the football. And like you said, so many great plays on that drive to be able to do it. And like offensively in that drive, like things that you've been kind of waiting to see, like, hey, let's just throw it now to Aaron Anderson.
Yeah.
He's really good in space. He's, a former returner. Let's just get him in space. He makes 2 guys miss. Josh Williams had one where he caught it and made a guy miss. Like the checkdowns in this game
were great.
Were huge. Like I can't remember a game, T, where they actually utilized the checkdowns. I mean, I know Nuss is always looking downfield. I know Josh caught 6.
I feel like they definitely did it more this game, but then also, and Josh led the way here as well, the playmakers made play.
They did.
In space. Like, they made the first guy miss consistently. It goes back to Kelly's quote from earlier in the year. Those guys are on scholarship, too. I mean, go look at the end zone copy of the first touchdown run from Josh Williams. It is a thing of beauty. He bounces off the linebacker. He's like kind of disappears in the wash.
Yeah.
Looks like he's floating about a foot off the ground, his chest is. And then all of a sudden he done squirts out and he's in the end zone. But even the play before that, the swing pass where he's two guys have him dead to rights. And no, he makes both guys miss, get your ball playmaker's face, and then he sets himself up to go score the touchdown the next play. So, yeah, the checkdown's very effective in this game for sure.
And those things like that, and they ran the ball really well this game,
Yep.
but like things like that are kind of an extension of the run game because they're high percentage pass completions.
Yeah.
And so for like Garrett Nussmeier, for him, that just continues to gain his confidence as he hits those because their first downs are easy throws, and then he knows he can look downfield and come back down to that, and so he knows he has both levels kind of available to him. And so Nussmeier had a fantastic game, and we'll get to some of the stuff pregame with Garrett Nussmeier a little bit later on. Definitely want to hit that, but I thought he had a really nice game, and it opened up something he hasn't really had because the backs, like in protection, sometimes they've been patrolling the area a little bit too long, haven't really got out into their routes. And that, look, when you're an offense that wants to take shots, you can only do that if you have your checkdowns in place, and then if you don't, then it's a recipe for disaster.
Well, and you know, I like if Saban Jones is my defensive MVP, Josh Williams is my offensive MVP, but it goes beyond just his play. It's the context of him having this level of game the same week that he spearheaded a players-only meeting in which he said, look, we have not been living up to the standard that we set for ourselves here. We have to go do it. And then he did not just lead with his voice, but his actions, which is always the most important. So for Williams to call the team in, to say this is what we're going to do, and then be the one to do it on Saturday, shout out to the senior. This is not a game that is going to be remembered for all time. This is not a game that I don't think anybody's going to be celebrating here in a couple of years.
No.
But it is a game that means a ton right now. And Williams, as your leader, is the was the guy both on and off the field to, I think, help create this result, break the losing streak, and go into, look, a senior day in which you are going to face a very tough Oklahoma Sooner football team like we learned this weekend. Wow, Jake, what incredible takes.
I mean, those guys, they're just the best.
I think so. And if you think so, again, hit the like button, subscribe, ring the bell so you get notifications when we post every single day here on OTB LSU.